everybody, my name is Sarah Roberts. I'm an environmental journalist and wildlife expert who's worked all over the world with lots of different creatures. But today, I'm going to be doing a book reading of my story, Somebody Woke Wilson, which is all about poor Wilson here on his journey to get back to bed. But he keeps getting woken up for lots of different things, but you're going to have to guess what they are and why. So before we go any further, we're also going to be learning lots of different facts that are going to tie the themes of the story together, and there'll be a quiz at the end. So for this activity, you're going to need your brains, you're going to need your ears, and you're going to need the Somebody Woke Wilson activity booklet. So if we've got all of that, let's get started. Somebody woke Wilson. Wilson was born with a squash and a squish, deep under whale poop, and lots of dead fish. He lived underground for millions of years, where he slept warm and toasty till a big boat appeared. The boat drilled a hole down through the sea floor and sucked Wilson up in a huge metal straw. Somebody woke Wilson, but where could he be? Rushing and gushing through a long sticky pipe, Wilson spun up and up in a terrible fright. But where was Wilson? With 4 wheels, 5 doors, and a screen made of glass, whatever trapped Wilson was moving quite fast. What could that be? Something with 4 wheels, 5 doors, and a screen made of glass. I wonder if anyone can tell me, what could that be? Let's see if you're right. The engine grew hot as poor Wilson was forced to escape from the car through its loud, hot exhaust. Give yourselves a pat on the back if you guessed car. Poor old Wilson. Wilson was scared and whooshed up in the sky, where he saw others just like him all hurtling by. But where could he be? What are the facial expressions on these creatures? Do they look very happy to you? This new place was green, with no dirt and no stink. Fantastic, said Wilson. I'll rest here, I think. But where could he be now? Wilson settled down, drifting off at last. But somebody woke him as they chewed on the grass. Can you hear that? I wonder what creature that could be. Moo! It had 4 legs, a tail, and a black and white hide, and a long licky tongue that scooped Wilson inside. He'd been in the grass, but where was he now? Poor Wilson was being eaten by a big hungry cow. Oh no! As he moved through the stomachs, 1, 2, 3, and 4, Wilson was sure he could take this no more. That's when the cow gave Wilson a start, as it lifted its tail and let out a large fart. The air was very crowded now. The cow woke Wilson, but now he was free. Except this was not where he wanted to be. With so many newcomers all trapped together, their bouncing and bumping affected the weather. Well, they don't look very happy, do they? As lightning flashed and thunder moaned, Wilson wished he could just go home. That's when a small figure came into view, holding a spade and a tiny tree too. "Fossil fuels don't belong here," she said. "They should be asleep in the Earth's crust instead." She dug down her spade and planted her tree, which took Wilson home where he wanted to be. He settled down in the cozy warm ground and went back to sleep without even a sound. Maybe one sound. More people arrived, and soon the crowd grew, and they planted more trees to help Wilson's friends too. Yay! Look, they all look so happy now because they're all going back to sleep. Okay, well, I hope you were all listening very carefully, and I hope you liked the story because we are now about to start our quiz. So for the next part, you're going to need your activity booklet and a pen and pencil, and of course, your brains and your ears too. Now it's time for our quiz. So your teacher will already have split you into groups. I'm going to ask you a question and you'll have 30 seconds to discuss your question with your teammates before you write down your answer in your booklet. After each question, I'm going to be sharing with you a fun fact about the story, and then at the end, we can count up to see how many you got right. So switch those brains on. Let's get started. Question 1. For millions of years, Wilson had slept warm and toasty in the ground. But what suddenly woke Wilson from his sleep? You've got 30 seconds. Go! Stop! Your 30 seconds are now up. While you write down your answers though, I've got your first fact. You see, quite often when people talk about Wilson as a fossil fuel, the first creature that comes into mind is a dinosaur. But actually, Wilson was formed by something that lived long before the dinosaurs, a teeny tiny sea creature that lived its life and then it dropped down to the bottom of the ocean where it died. And while it was there on the sea floor, lots of other creatures lived their lives and they pooed and they died and they pooed and they died. And over millions of years, Wilson was squashed under lots of dead poo and lots of dead sea creatures for long time until all of that weight squashed Wilson and pushed him closer and closer to the Earth's core where he heated up and he turned into crude oil. But now, as people are searching for crude oil and also investigating those layers between the Earth's crust, they're finding some of the remnants of these dead creatures, including these. This is a megalodon tooth, and it came from a giant shark species that no longer exists in our oceans. But here you can see that the tooth has been fossilized and it's been preserved in all of those layers of poo and dead creatures. Question number 2. Wilson rushed and he gushed through what type of transport? Your 30 seconds starts now. time is now up. It's your chance to scribble down your answers. But as you do that, here is your second fact. Because our transport relies on fossil fuels and often releases large amounts of Wilson and his friends into the air, this is heating up our climate. And there are certain species on the planet that are already suffering from this, such as polar bears, which live on our great big ice sheets. However, one creature that's particularly affected is the sea turtle, because sea turtles bury their eggs in the sand, and the temperature of those eggs in the sand determines whether they're going to be male or female when they hatch. And because our temperatures are warming so much, that means that it's likely we're going to get more female sea turtles than we will male sea turtles. Question number 3. Eventually, Wilson managed to settle back down into the grass for a short nap before another creature gobbled him back up and trumped him back out again. What creature gobbled up Wilson? You've got 30 seconds starting now. Stop! Write your answers down, and as you do that, here is your third fact. Cows do not have one single stomach, just like we do, or dogs or cats. Instead, they've developed 4 stomachs, and this is because cows are able to eat the cell walls of plants. You see, when we eat a plant, we can't actually digest very much of it. But the way that cows' stomachs work, they can break down so much energy from the grass that it makes them fart a lot, but it also means that they can survive on a very basic diet. Question number 4. After Wilson was trumped back into the air with all of his friends, what plant was planted to help Wilson and his friends get back to sleep? What plant was planted to help Wilson and his friends get back to sleep? Time starts now. Stop! Your time is now up. As you jot down your answers though, here is fact number 4. Did you know that trees can actually talk to each other? And not just that, they can share resources too, or even wage war on one another. And this is because of the fungi that grows in and around the roots. And through that network, they can communicate. Okay, it is time for your final question. So, question number 5. At the end of our story, Wilson finds himself back where he belongs, where he can go back to sleep. But where is this place? Where do fossil fuels belong? Your time starts now. Your time is now up. So as you write down your last answer, here is our final fact. It's not just trees that can help Wilson get back to sleep. Scientists around the world have actually created new technology called carbon storage technology. And in a little place called Iceland, they're already using this same technology to suck Wilson and his friends out of the air and then to make very, very fizzy water with Wilson and his friends and then to shoot it back down into the bedrock of the earth, where after a little period of time, he turns into crystals. Isn't that cool? Time for the answers. Pass your sheet to the group next to you and let's get marking. Question 1, I asked you what suddenly woke Wilson up from his sleep. So if you wrote down a boat drilling, give yourselves a great big tick. Well done, guys. Pat on the back for you if you got that right. Question number 2. I asked, Wilson rushed and gushed through the engine of what type of vehicle? It had 4 wheels, 5 doors and a screen made of glass. If you said car, then well done, you got that right. Give yourself a great big tick. Question 3. I asked you, what type of animal farted Wilson back out? What type of animal farted Wilson back out? And if you said cow, you got that right. Well done, guys. Question number 4. I said, what type of plant helped to transport Wilson and his friends safely back down into the ground? If you said tree, again, a great big tick. Well done, you got that correct. And for the final question, number 5, I said, where do fossil fuels like Wilson belong? If you said underground, well done, you got that right. That brings us to the end of our quiz. It's time to count up your answers and to see how you scored. You can compare with the rest of the class, but in the meantime, in your activity book, you'll also find a missing words puzzle, a word search, and a picture task, all of which link up to the key themes of our story today. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us, and also thank you to all of the children and schools who've committed to cutting your carbon. I've really enjoyed reading this book and doing the quiz with you. I hope you have too, but it's time for me to go. So thank you so much and see you next time. Bye!